Hello, everyone. Hey, uh, welcome. Welcome to my live stream. And I am starting a minute early because it takes a half a minute for this all to get linked up on Instagram. So give me just a second. There we go. That should do it. And I'm going to hit go live over here. Yay! I think I'm about to go live. So thank you. If you tuned in this very first second that I started, thank you very much for your patience. Um, it does take a minute to get this all set up, and I do not have someone like an engineer. Oh, that's interesting. There's just nothing over there. Okay, all good. So, uh, big update. Going to do a weekly update on Africa Tour 2025, and let's see what has happened this week. I have researched Togo and Benin. I have decided I am probably not going to Cote d'Ivoire. The amount of challenge in the trip and the amount of time it takes versus the fact that it's kind of backtracking and various other things that are influencing that doesn't mean I couldn't change my mind, but I might not go to Cote d'Ivoire. I might just start and go um, Togo and Benin and then Nigeria. So let me bring up the map real quick. Let's see. Share screen. Are you going to give me? Yeah, you give me a tab to choose. Okay. I highlighted the area. I set it up beforehand this time. So see, I'm here in Ghana. Okay. And then I'll be coming down here to Accra, which is the capital, and I'll get make sure my visas are straight. Togo, it looks like it's a straight E-visa. Benin, I still have to do a little research. Last time I looked, it was only if you fly in, so I might have to get one at the embassy because I'm going to be all overland. And so anyone who didn't catch my first announcement, I will be going from Ghana to Namibia next year, starting in January. I am going to go from Ghana to Namibia. And I'm not going fast. I know some people go through and it's all about driving and getting there and however many days they get there. No, I'm taking the time and I'm going to go around each and every country as if I were visiting as a tourist because that's what I'll be doing. And so that's the plan: is Ghana to Namibia, completely overland if I can. I'm going to try really hard not to have to take an airplane. That is my goal. And so it's looking like I'm going to start by going to Togo. Togo is the skinny little country right there. And let me tell you a little bit about what there is to do in Togo. I will tell you that I'm going to give you some travel planning tips, and I might as well start with this right now because I'm also trying to contact tourism boards so I can maybe work with them. Most of the African tourism boards could use some new pictures or some better pictures. They could use some reporting. They could, if they have a little budget or can provide me a guide, I want to get in touch with them. But I'll be honest with you, some of the websites are failing me. I have one more outlet I'm going to try for getting a hold of Togo's tourism board. Otherwise, I'm just going to have to show up when I get to the capital and talk to them then, because both the phone number and the email on their website don't work, and I'm really not finding anything else. So if you happen to know how to get in touch with the Togo tourism board, let me know. But let's see, we've got a big cool market, which, if you've watched any of my videos, I love a good market. There's Lake Togo and Togoville, which you get to take a canoe ride out to probably a little island type thing or the little thing. So you get a canoe ride, and I'm always up for a boat ride. There is a fetish market, and if you don't know what fetish is, that means it's belonging to the voodoo or Vodun. There's a few different ways they say it. Well, they say it one way, we say it another. Let me put it that way. But it's for the Vodun religion. And so that's a place, I've been to a few fetish markets before, but I'll go so I can show it to you. And that's, they'll have some animal skins, animal skulls, and various products they use in their traditional rituals. Okay. The most shocking for us Westerners is usually the skulls and the skins and that sort of thing. And they'll have some live animals too that you might end up using in a sacrifice or in a medicine. It could be for a medicine in that too. So I'm always interested to see those. Benin and Togo are like centers of voodoo and Vodun. So when I get over to Benin, I'll be definitely trying to attend some voodoo ceremonies. Again, I've done it before, but we're going to get some good video this time. I wasn't vlogging; I was just doing a blog at the time. So we're going to get some good video this time, and they're all different. So it's not like repeating it. You know, it's like going to your favorite band's concert several times. It's always fun to go again. It's always interesting to go again. And let's see. There's some museums and see the thing. Oh wait, no, that's in Togo. So there's a cathedral. There's an Independence Monument, and I'm going to tell you about city tours. I came up with a cheat code for city tours and deciding what to go to see in a city. So I'll get to that later when I get to the planning section. Some waterfalls, and what's interesting is because if you saw my Best of Ghana, you know I went to Wheelie Waterfall, and that's in the Volta region of Ghana. Well, even when we were hiking, they told us, oh yeah, you go up there and there's the border with Togo. So some of the waterfalls in Togo are just on the other side of that border, so that man-made border. If I'm in the area, I'll probably do another, if there's an easier waterfall, I'll do an easy waterfall over there too. You can actually hike to the upper Wheelie Falls. I guess you maybe cross over into Ghana to do it, which is ironic. But it's like, someone said it was like an hour and a half, and it was a hard hike. So yeah, I'm not there yet. Once I start doing it some more, I'll get better and better, but I'm not there yet. So that's that. There's the tallest mountain in Togo, of course, and I might look at it, but I'm not going to climb it yet. And let's see. Let's see, a park, county. Oh, there's some cave granaries of Nak and Manpoog that, and I'm probably assaulting these names badly. But there's some cave granaries, and I saw some of the pictures, and they have really cool sculptures and stuff at them. So if I can make it up there, I will. And so that is the rundown for Togo. Togo's relatively small, and the visa they give you, if you don't ask for a longer visa, they give you like 15 days. So I'm kind of hoping 15 days will be enough. I'm going to have to hustle through Togo a little bit, but that's actually kind of a good thing, and I'll explain that because I found out something about a festival in Nigeria that is going to affect my timing as well. So then the Benin. Now, as I said, I have been to Benin before, but didn't get as much video as I needed to cover it well, and it's right on my path, and I know some people there already, so that's really awesome. And Benin has all sorts of stuff to do. They have a stilt village, Gambier stilt village. They have a market in Cotonou, which is one of those big African-style markets. That's one of those places where all the travel things will say, oh, it could be a little dangerous around there. It wasn't dangerous, you know. You just got to, you're going into a crowded space. You keep your wits about you, but it's not dangerous. I say that because the one guy that ever bothered me in Benin was there, and like no one bothered me in Benin. I mean, it was the lowest hassle country. They're as friendly as the people here in Ghana, but there is like zero hassle. If someone offers to sell you something, if you say no, they'll pretty much go away on your first no, second one for sure. And people come and talk to you, and they don't actually, like you sit down for lunch and your tables are closed and they'll talk to you, but they just want to talk to you to talk to you. They don't always just want to like sell you something or get your number or anything like that. They might just want to talk to you. So Benin is really low stress, low hassle. And as I say, they're as friendly. These three countries I can vouch for. Benin, Togo, Ghana are three of the friendliest countries you can put next to each other. There must be something in the water. But these three countries are really friendly and welcoming. And I went into the other two. Togo and Benin are French speaking and not speaking much French at all. And they were completely helpful and fine and all that. So we've got some arts and crafts places. They say private beach, but private beach is just one of those where there's probably a restaurant or a resort attached, and you go and have a nice lunch. Um, at the Cotonou port, there is a graffiti wall. There's a graffiti mural, and it's supposed to be the longest in Africa. And I missed that when I was there last time, so I definitely want to go see the graffiti mural. Um, and because it looks really cool. So in fact, that's the kind of place where if I have signal and I can pull it off, I'll do a live from there. So those of you following me on Instagram, I'm going to highly recommend you scoot over to the YouTube channel, which is the link in the bio, and subscribe. And I say that because while I'm doing these lives here from my place in Tamale, Ghana, when I'm on the road, I will do a live, and honestly, you never know when it's going to happen because I'll be like, oh, hey, I'm somewhere cool. Let me do a live and broadcast it out. And I'm streaming on two things right now. That's not easy to do on mobile, and I don't want to promise I'll be able to do that on IG mobile all the time. So if you want to see these quirky little lives, you can check out. I have a bunch of them from when I toured around southern Ghana a couple months ago. Every time I stop somewhere kind of cool and interesting, I do a little live. And I'll be doing that on the whole Africa tour next year. But I can only guarantee that I'll be getting that out on YouTube. I can only guarantee it on YouTube. I'm going to try and do it on both, but I can only guarantee it on YouTube. So go subscribe on YouTube. Let's see, in Porto Novo, and Benin has two capitals. This is not terribly common, but Benin has two capitals. Porto Novo is like the administrative capital, but Cotonou is the real powerhouse city. Last time I went to Porto Novo, I mean, they were still making the roads, so they were all paved. I was surprised that it was a capital. It's not a bad little town. There was some interesting stuff going on there, but it didn't feel like a capital city. But over there, they have some things I probably missed. They have I did see this though. They have a mosque, but it used to be a Catholic church. So it's this really interesting, brightly colored mosque that used to be a Catholic church. And then one thing I did miss was the Black River in Porto Novo. It's a canoe ride. It's a cool canoe ride. You can't go wrong with a canoe ride, Okay, you could go wrong, but I've never had a bad canoe ride. And got a lake. There's a lake, Ahene, where the women collect salt, and you can learn about traditional farming and all that, but it's one of those salt collecting lakes. It's not a funny color though. The one in Senegal was a pink lake, and that was really cool. And that was their salt gathering lake. And there is a national park, but it's kind of too close to the border with Burkina Faso, so I'm probably not going to go there. That's the big one. And they have a lot of nice beaches in Benin. And the town you really want to go to in Benin, if you're interested in voodoo, there's a sacred forest, within the town, but it's the town called Ouida, and it's spelled Ouidah, oui, like yes in French, but Ouida. And that's a really strong voodoo center because you can go to the Python Temple. And the Python Temple is right across the street from the Catholic Church. And sometimes people will walk out of one into the other. So the Python Temple is really open to visitors, though, and they will give you a full tour, and they'll let you put a python around your neck and everything else. It's really pretty fun. And so you get to learn there. And then there's Abomi. There's both slave history. There's palaces, king's palaces up there, or chief's palaces, I forget. And the chance of going to, as I say, voodoo ceremony. So those are the main things in Benin. And I'm not telling you every little thing because that'll get boring. So that gets me through there. Now, I was originally, my lease on my apartment will go through like the 16th of January. And that's about when I'm planning to leave. However, there is a festival in Nigeria. And let's see. And I've got my spreadsheets this time, and this is my first time using spreadsheets for this. It's the Argungu. I don't know the emphasis, but festival. It's a fishing festival. So My friend who's from Nigeria said that's going to be in the river area in a state called Kebbi. But in 2025, it's actually from March 4th through 7th. See, I saw that it said February to March, and I thought, oh, February is going to be tight to get there. But like Togo and Benin, Togo 2 weeks unless I extend the visa. And Benin, I know Benin, but to do it right and to get good video and good footage and really show you guys the place is probably a solid 3 to 4 weeks. So if I estimate 6 weeks, forgive me, I'm turning down my little desk fan here. It's 33 degrees Celsius, which is 91 degrees Fahrenheit. It's gray, it's rainy season, but the rain's not coming, and it's still toasty here. So, not real toasty. This isn't hot for here, but the fan is nice. So I'm estimating that I can do Togo and Benin together in about 6 weeks. So to leave myself a little cushion time, because we know how things happen, and the fact that I'm going to have to get into Nigeria and go through Lagos and then go up to whatever, go to the town that fishing village is in. I'm thinking I'm going to leave a little earlier in January, like maybe by the 10th, and that'll give me enough cushion time to make sure I can get to that festival on time. And the festival is like 4 days long, and I know it's a thing of, it's like they say, go, and everyone rushes out and into the river and tries to catch the biggest fish. The prize the king will give is for catching the biggest fish. But then there's all sorts of other things going on. There's dancing, there's food, there's costumes. I think there's costumes at this one, but it's just a big deal. It's a big party. And, you know, if you're ever traveling and you have enough freedom, oh, I didn't put any details. I just put fishing festival. That's all I needed. It's a festival. Is if you're anywhere near a festival and you have to change plans a little to get over to the festival, do it. There's nothing better than seeing a festival that you know, especially when you weren't expecting it. But seeing a festival is a great way to see a place and to get to know people and to get to know a little bit about their culture. So anytime you travel, I highly recommend going to festivals when you can. So I'm going to probably leave a little before my lease is up so that I can go to Nigeria and have time to get to that festival. And Nigeria has a ton of stuff to do. Okay. Nigeria just has a ton of stuff to do. And I'm going to take a quick look and just make sure everything's going okay with the broadcast. Oh, hey, someone sent a chat, which I can actually see. So I'm gonna, that wasn't working last week. So it's working now. And okay, so that's the plan. Oh, but as I say, Nigeria, I haven't actually finished researching Nigeria. I started it last night, and there is just so much, and I haven't. Right now, I'm just going through and making note of the places that there are to go, and I'm noting where they are, but I haven't sat down with the map and figured out, okay, these are over here and these are over here, kind of thing. So let me see. Okay, so I told you already that like the government tourism sites, when you're looking as just a tourist in Africa, the government tourism sites are usually not that amazing. Some of them run they run really slow. A lot of them don't have quite the information that they should. You'll go to a page and it'll give you this kind of generic paragraph or sentence about the place and not really tell you anything. I will give Nigeria credit that their site looks slick and it loads fast. It is a nice looking site. The drawback is you go to, they'll say, discover about this, and then you click on it and, you know, it tells you, okay, these are the things to do in the region, but you can't like click through and learn more about any of them. Okay, bye-bye. That was no, turn it the other way. Yeah, there you go. Oh, it was all three, okay. Bye-bye. That was Fadila. She comes and cleans my apartment once a week. She's a young woman going to nursing school. And so she comes and keeps things clean around here. So I really appreciate that. And okay, so the government sites, as I say, the Nigerian site, as I say, it looks good, but then you get there and it just says, oh, this region is known for these things, and it gives you a couple sentences. And it might even name them, but then you can't go in and find out more information. So it looked good, but it's still a little disappointing. But there is so much going on. There's some caves there, and there's like a few hundred steps down. That I'll do. Cave with steps that have been built, uh, human built steps. That sounds like a really cool thing to do. And there's a place called Calabar that has like an old town area. There's a pottery making villages, and you guys know I love pottery. Um, One of my favorite bits in my Best of Tamale is when I got to go visit Labi, and she's a potter, and she was out there and she was using a mango seed as a shaping tool, and she was just hand building while we were talking, and in no time she had a pot made. She was just awesome. And my friend Abella, who's the guide I always recommend, he was with us because she didn't have any English, and I certainly didn't have any Dagbani worth sharing for conversation. So, let's see. Oh, they have one of the things in Lagos is the Lekki Conservation Center. The thing is, it's one of those rainforesty kind of places that has a rope canopy walkway. Thing is, it has the longest rope canopy walkway in Africa. So I am all over that. And they've got a lot of art going on in Nigeria. Lots of art and sculpture and painting and music and that sort of thing. So that's going on all over Nigeria. Arts and Crafts Market, also called Lekki Market. National Museum, of course. There's a floating community. So Lagos is called that, lake, because there's a bunch of water around the coast, and there's a bunch of little islands. And I haven't really looked at the thing at the map and figured it out yet. As I say, I'm still researching Nigeria. But one of the places you can go is this floating community, and that's always fun. So that would mean Ghana has the stilt village of Nzulazu or Nzulezu, far on the west coast near Cote d'Ivoire. Benin has Ganvier stilt village, and that's like a little drive out of Cotonou. And then in Lagos is the Makoko floating community. So we'll get to see what that one's all about and how that looks. Oh, and then this is the kind of adventure that I like. Um, and they have these Essie or EC figurines. And evidently they found a couple hundred years ago, they found all these figurines, and they were all like lined up in circles. Now, the figurines are dated back like, I want to say about 1,000 years or close to 1,000 years before they found them, if not that, hundreds at least. But so they have no idea what the figurines were actually for. And the fact that they were in circles would, personally, if I found them like that, that feels ceremonial. And to me, it feels like they shouldn't be disturbed. But they are now in a museum near the site, and I guess they're trying to preserve them. So I understand that. But I would have been nervous about disturbing them. Uncovering them, yes. Disturbing them, not so much. but there's a museum, but it's it's a small town, and it's in the south central part of the country. So it's going to be near the coast if it's south, like right in the center of the country. So, but that's the kind of thing, this kind of quirky little thing, and it's all these sculpted figures. Most of them are in like a soapstone, I think it is. And they just look really cool. And that's the kind of quirky, what they call off the beaten path type of thing I like to chase after. I like to have little quests. When I travel, I don't just go for the big stuff. I like to have these little quests that are just these quirky, unique things that not everyone sees, that are just something different, something you don't expect. Oh, and they have a waterfall that's like a couple hours drive, but it sounds like it's not too hard to get to. This is near Abuja. Abuja is the capital, and evidently it's also where all the rich people live. The roads are nice, and if the power is out in Nigeria, which happens a lot, it doesn't seem to go out in Abuja. You know how that goes. And there's a really nice mosque there. It did not say that you could go into the mosque if you weren't Muslim, but it's a nice mosque to look at, so I'll check it out. And then there's Zuma Rock, which is this big old rock. And my Nigerian friend said that's where like the president stays because it's like ultra fortified because it's just this giant rock. But you can go look at it from the outside because it's a big rock. Let's not be too obvious here, you know. Um, so let's see, there's a place called Thought Pyramid Art Center. There's some art galleries in Abuja. And then there's the Abuja Airplane House, which looks interesting. This might be another one of those mini quests to look at. And the thing is, for as much as I was told that Abuja is where all the rich people are, I looked up the prices for hotels and guest houses. I guess what I stay in is usually a guest house. I might call it a hotel, but it's a guest house usually. And there's plenty of affordable ones. So it's not a place that's so expensive that you can't afford to go there. But I also then looked at their nice shiny mall, and the shiny mall has things had like Domino's Pizza and places that look really familiar. So the shiny mall has American type stuff. I guess they'll actually take American dollars there, and so I expected that stuff to be maybe American type prices. But I'll go check it out. You know, maybe I'll get lucky. But it sounds like you kind of have that two-tiered thing. You have the stuff for rich Nigerians and expats and tourists, and then you have but there's still stuff there that's, you know, makes living possible for everyone else. Because otherwise they wouldn't have the cheaper guest houses and hotels. I'm sure there's affordable things around too. So as I say, those are the things I've found so far. Yeah, the cave I'm thinking of going to, or that I do want to go to. Oh, and then there's a sacred grove too that looks like it has these cool sculptures and that all over it. So there's this place with these cool sculptures that's a sacred grove, and then there's the cave. And the cave, I mean, I went into a lot of caves when we were in Southeast Asia, and there would be Buddhist temples inside, but this isn't like that. This is a totally different kind of cave. The ones in Southeast Asia are these limestone caves, and they have these cool. I don't think you call them stalactites there, but these cool formations. And here it looked entirely different. So if you want to look up, oh gosh, I've lost it now. Give me half a second. The cave. Where's the cave? Okay, Ogbunike Cave, Ogbunike, Ogbunike. It might just be pronounced like Obunki Caves, but that's the way it's spelled. If you want to take a look, you can Google that and take a look and see what it looks like. Okay, so for the travel planning. The thing that I have been doing lately that just saves me tons of time. First of all, I just type in where I'm going, what things to do in X. And inevitably, TripAdvisor will be near the top. The three main sites that I look at right off the bat are TripAdvisor, Lonely Planet, and Atlas Obscura. Okay, TripAdvisor is going to give you all the mainstream stuff. And, you know, you want their things to do page, not the one where they're super trying to sell you tours, just the things to do. There will be tours mixed in, but you want the things to do page. And you go through that. Now, here's my big time-saving tip. Okay, you're going somewhere, it's a big city, you know you want to see some of the stuff in the city. On TripAdvisor, look up the city tours that they're promoting and see what's on the city tour. And compare 2 or 3 of them, because some will cover a little of this and some will cover a little of that. But look at 2 or 3 of them and scribble down the places you want to go, and you'll find most city tours. I mean, you can pay for the full tour, but most places that have Bolt or Uber or something like that, a rideshare service, you can just pop around and do it on your own. Most cities are completely fine to just use Bolt to get around town and see these places on your own. Then you see them completely on your own schedule. You can say, you know what, I'm not really interested in that one, so I'm going to take that off, but I want to add this one on, that kind of thing. Customize your thing. But to just save yourself time, use the city tours that are already put together to research what's available. That will save you so much time in putting together your city tour. Then you're not like digging here and digging there and looking. Okay, so as I say, TripAdvisor is usually my first one because they have some of the biggest listings and they have a lot of reviews. And the reviews are a good thing. You know, read them with the grain of salt that you always do. But sometimes you can really get a feel for whether something's worth it or not. So that's usually my first contact. And then Lonely Planet depends. Sometimes they come up, sometimes they don't. It doesn't have to be Lonely Planet as my second choice, but if they're there, I like the information they give. They give a nice rounded approach. It's not just a straight touristy approach. They'll show you some of the quirky things and some of the interesting things. And then Atlas Obscura is great because their whole point is to show you the quirkiest things. They'll show you the stuff that most people don't get to. They'll show you the stuff that, only locals and a few really quirky tourists know about. It actually is one of those where public can contribute. It's a little bit like Wikipedia where you can contribute. So you have people who have found these interesting things and you'll see some overlap. You'll certainly see overlap. But there's a lot of times on Atlas Obscura, you will find things that no other sites mention. And so that's why I really like checking out Atlas Obscura to see what other people have discovered that no one else has. Okay, so that's my initial thing. And if I don't feel like I've gotten enough, then I start digging down and I'll just add more sites, Sometimes I look at the big travel ones, but my favorite, after I've done the initial get the big stuff out of the way, my favorite is to actually look at more private, small person, single person, or traveler travel blogs, because travel blogs, if they're written by someone who's actually been there, will absolutely give you the best information. Most of them will, at least. They'll tell you about what they encountered and how they felt about it. But they'll give you a real sense of what really happens there. It's not just this kind of generically written marketing paragraph, So if you're looking at a place and you see a private small business, small creator, I should say, travel blog, definitely gives the travel blog a chance because they usually actually have the best information, and because as I say, I'm looking for ones specifically that are written by people who have actually been there, not just done the research on the place, but they've actually been there. And that's one of the best places to look as well. So after my first 3 big name sites, the travel blogs are my next choice, and in no particular order, except I do usually start with TripAdvisor just to get the bulk of the list filled out. Okay, so I am using a spreadsheet this time because this is a big trip. And I'm even putting things on my spreadsheet that I know I'm not going to do, partly so when I translate the information for you and start making videos, I have the information of, oh, by the way, if you like hiking, there's supposedly this great hike, but it was too much for me, so, but you should know it exists. So I as I'm going through, I'm putting everything on the list, or almost everything. If the reviews are all bad and it's just, you can tell it's a stinker, then I may not be putting it on the spreadsheet. But anything that's an even a remote possibility or a good point of interest, I put it on the spreadsheet. And my spreadsheet is basically, I've got things to see or do, where it is. In Nigeria, I listed as state, but you might just, the closest big city. Yes, no, or maybe. Then any other notes, like sometimes there will be a paragraph of description and I'll just paste some notes in there. And if there's any mention, if any of the listings mention, oh, the tickets cost this much, I have a column for costs if they're known ahead of time. Obviously, don't need to fill that in if I don't find anything, it's not urgent. And it's as simple as that. If I were planning a small vacation, I don't know, this seems to be working out really nicely. So, if I were doing a multi-country destination, and you have to remember, I started planning trips when it was you had the Lonely Planet book in one hand, and I would have highlighted things, and I would have dog-eared it, and and that's how I would go through a country, was with my Lonely Planet guide. In fact, in China, the book was like really thick. The book for China for Lonely Planet is from Lonely Planet is that thick. So I did something for the first time that I've never done, and I actually we would get places, and he didn't want to pull out the big guidebook and just say, "Hey, look, I don't know where I'm going." So I would tear out the section for the city we were in, or the region we were, the place we were going to. I would tear it out of the book, and by the time we finished, I had a whole bunch of sections torn out because that was the best way. And you know, it just made sense at the time. Normally I would be loath to tear up a book, but it was the smartest thing I could have done in the moment. And that was like 2007, so I wasn't carrying around a bunch of electronics. And honestly, maybe it's just the devices I'm looking at them on, but I'm finding that the Lonely Planet guides in ebook form, and this would go for any guide in ebook form, actually really hard to use. One, because they are really thick books. I mean, it takes forever to load on the computer, and like turning pages and moving sections is really slow. If I had a super fast computer or a super fast tablet, that may not be as much the case, but you still don't have, my original method used to be, I'd dog-ear it, I'd go back and look at the crappy little map on the page and this and that, and I'd go back and forth like I had to. And you can't do that on an ebook. And you can sort of bookmark and you can sort of highlight, but it just doesn't work as well. But I'm doing more research on the internet now, so be it. But now I'm using a spreadsheet, and I'm finding it pretty good. As I say, like Nigeria is big. To give you an idea, Nigeria is 33% bigger than Texas. Okay, to give you a sense of country size, Nigeria is bigger than Texas by a third. And so there's going to be a lot of information on Nigeria. So to have that all organized, and you put all the Lagos ones together, and you put, and I'm not good with spreadsheets. I am no magician on spreadsheets. I've just had to learn them out of self-defense at various points in my life. So this is really basic stuff I'm doing, nothing fancy. But I am putting together all the things from the different places. The next thing I'll need to do is really get into the close map of Nigeria and figure out where all those different states are and what I need to do in which regions, that kind of thing. And that's probably the biggest, most challenging of the countries I'm going to anytime soon. And so those are my travel tips. That's my planning tip. This week in Tamale, this week in Tamale, I went into town. I need to do that more often, but I saw my friend Abdullah at his shop. He has a shop in the cultural center, and he does tour guiding. And he's an awesome tour guide, and he knows everyone, so it's all good. I highly recommend him. If you check out my videos, you'll see anything I reference him, his contact info is in the description. And so I saw him, I did some errands, bank, market, that kind of thing. And I got to see, I met back up with the cultural troupe, the Tahma cultural troupe that I was doing so much with last year before I went on my trip around Ghana. And I've touched base with them a couple of times, but I really hung out with them the other day, and it was all sorts of fun. I love them. I just don't always have time because their rehearsal time kind of sits in the middle of my workday. But it was really cool to go see them. And by the way, I helped them start a YouTube channel, and it is Tahma Cultural Troupe. On YouTube, I'll put a link to it. Let's see. Oh wait, you guys are still on half screen, aren't you? Wow, I'm still sharing my screen. Okay, so let's stop the screen share for a moment because I want to hold this up. Stop screen sharing. Okay, it was funny. I looked at the thumbnail that YouTube chose last week, and it was this weird dour face, and I know I was just trying to figure out something on the screen, but it looked awful, so I started making thumbnails. Let's see, does it look right? See, that's how you spell Tahma Troupe, Tahma, Troupe, Troupe, but it's Tahma Cultural Troupe. But I'll put links in. And you should go check out their channel because last year before I went on the trip, we got 2 cameras going and I edited all the stuff and they did a bunch of stuff in costume. I think I posted a little bit about it on the YouTube channel, but yeah, they did it, all their dances in costume for me so I could get extra good video. And I've got some from them doing things in villages and other types of performances and some shorts, and all that stuff. But they are really awesome to go see. So yeah, look for that link in a little bit. And I think I've covered everything I'm going to cover. So that is 40 minutes. Okay. Thank you for hanging with me. By the way, I do appreciate everyone that shows up here. I really appreciate you, whether you can show up for 2 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever. I appreciate you showing up because this is going to be fun. I mean, I get to travel all around Africa next year, and that's just going to be totally awesome. And I really like the idea that I'm going to be able to bring you along. And I hope it will encourage you to visit Africa, whatever place sparks your interest within Africa. I love Ghana, but there's a bunch of awesome places here. It's not just Ghana. It's the whole continent is pretty awesome, or at least a lot of it is. Some of it's in turmoil right now, but everyone has bad neighborhoods, right? So, but I really hope that when you follow me, I hope you'll think about coming to Africa and finding the place that sparks your interest most. My place is Ghana, but as I say, Togo and Benin are awesome. And then the rest of that trip from Nigeria on down to Namibia is all new to me. It's completely new to me. So we'll be discovering it together. And thank you. Thanks, Grace, and thank you, Doug, from earlier. It's you know how it goes. It's oops, you know what I mean. But I'm not the greatest typist. But so I say thank you for joining me, and I'm going to do these every week. Unless the power or the internet are out, I will be trying to do this every week. So I will keep you updated, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Let's see. Oh, wait, I got to turn off Instagram first. Something horrible happens if I don't turn off Instagram first. So, oh. A bunch of people joined on Instagram. Awesome. Awesome. It's all working. It's working. Yay. Thank you. I'll see everyone soon. Okay. Have a great weekend, everybody.